I'm sharing this now because the Dashcam app keeps auto-editing the clip into a memory. And honestly, therapy said I should externalize it. Last October, I drove solo from Wichita to Colorado Springs after burying my aunt. Straight shot on US 54. The plan was podcasts, one gas stop, then back to my apartment before midnight. Kansas sky was doing its usual mood swing. Sun at my back. A bruised purple wall ahead. I noticed a beige Silverado merge behind me outside Mullinville and sit there. 10 miles, no pass. I slowed. It slowed. I sped up. Same. No front plate, just chrome bullhorns zip-tied to the grill. My stomach folded like I'd skipped a stair. Rain started like shredded paper on the roof. The truck flashed its brights 3 quick times. Highway code for hazard. But the road looked fine. I tapped my flashers once. A mile later, the Civic shuddered. Traction light screaming. Flat rear tire. I cursed, eased onto the shoulder. The Silverado parked 50 yards back, hazards pulsing. My phone had 0 bars, panhandle dead zone. The truck's driver appeared, poncho flapping, lug wrench in hand. Good Samaritan vibes, sure, but I stayed in the car and cracked the window. He said he'd seen sparks off my rim and asked if I had a spare. I nodded, popped the trunk. We changed the tire in pelting rain. I tried to tip him. He waved it off. Storm's coughing up tornadoes, lady. He kept eyeing my open trunk. Half my aunt's estate in boxes. Spare on. I slammed the lid. He gripped my wrist instead of shaking my hand. You sure you're good? Tone off. I yanked free, locked myself in, engine on. He moseyed back to the Silverado, but when I pulled out, he followed. Lights off now. I floored it to 85. He matched. I tried 911. Call failed. The next exit had an old rest area. I signaled like I would stop. He gunned past and blocked the ramp, brake lights strobing. I swerved back onto the highway shoulder. He paralleled me on gravel. A semi-truck boxed him with an air horn blast, and the Silverado fishtailed into a ditch. I drove another 20 minutes before signal returned and gave the trooper the mile marker. They found the truck 3 days later, abandoned in a barn. Fingerprints bleached with acetone. No arrests. I put run flats on the Civic and a cloud backup rear cam, but thunderheads still look like beige trucks trying to flag me down. I'm typing this from a Starbucks because every time the motel Wi-Fi disconnects, I smell burned insulation again. My girlfriend Jess and I were on a cheerful Denver to Tahoe road trip last Memorial Day weekend. 2 teachers celebrating summer break. By noon of day 1, we'd done 600 miles and fried our brains on true crime podcasts. So when we spotted a vintage neon sign, Sundown Inn, vacancy, we figured kitschy selfies plus cheap room. The desk clerk was a genial woman in a sunflower blouse who insisted on taking our picture with one of those instant cameras for the scrapbook. She handed us a key card and 2 cream sodas, on the house. Said the Wi-Fi was quirky during daylight savings upgrades. Room smelled like citrus cleaner over old carpet, but the AC blasted relief. We showered, watched bad cable, dozed. At dusk, my phone pinged. Unfamiliar Gmail notification. Subject line, sundown memories. Body, just our Polaroid, snapped at the desk. Timestamped 3 minutes earlier. I shrugged. Maybe staff email? 5 minutes later, Jess's phone dinged the same. Except the picture had our faces photoshopped into gray. Eyes clouded white. Creepy, but we assumed bored clerk. We walked to the lobby to ask. No one at the desk. Door to the back office locked. The scrapbook on the counter was filled with Polaroids of past travelers, except every photo had the eyes blanked out with correction fluid. Jess joked it was art therapy. My stomach disagreed. Back in the room, the TV scrolled static. The lock sensor on the door flickered between red and green like someone was reprogramming it. Then the AC cut. Lights dimmed. Our devices went dark. Battery icons killed. I tried the hallway. Keycard dead. Cell signal vanished. A woman's voice crackled from the bedside radio we hadn't turned on. Guests of sundown, please return to the lobby for retake. Same soft lilt as the clerk. Jess grabbed the bathroom hairspray as mace. I pocketed the tire pressure gauge. We pried open the window, planning to drop onto the pool deck. But the courtyard was packed with mannequins dressed in guests' clothing, all facing our room. Jess choked back a scream. I felt reality skew. We barricaded the door with the dresser. The radio voice tisked. Room 117, non-compliance noted. Then smoke tickled under the door. Wiry plastic stink. The sprinklers stayed silent. I smashed the bathroom mirror and used a shard to slice the screen. We dropped 5 feet onto damp mulch and sprinted to the Prius. The lot lights strobed like a haunted house, but the car started. At the exit gate, the clerk stood holding a Polaroid. Jess hit the horn and kept rolling. The woman stepped aside, smiling. We slept at a truck stop lot. Next morning, we returned with county deputies. The Sundown Inn stood boarded, windows dusty, sign unlit. The realtor's lockbox showed it had been foreclosed for 2 years. Body cam footage shows the place exactly as abandoned. Our phones still have the emailed photos, metadata pointing to noon the previous day, before we ever stopped. Direct confrontation? Jess says we hallucinated carbon monoxide. But the Polaroids in the glove box keep their eyes whited out, and I can't teach summer school without checking every classroom clock for hidden lenses. I guess I'm posting because yesterday a stranger DM'd a grainy still of my old band's van and asked, "Ever replace the bulb?" That question rips open a wound from 2019, when 4 of us, me on bass, Marco drums, twins Seth and Sam guitars, drove our rickety Sprinter between Texas dive bars, chasing gas money and clout. One night, near 2 a.m., we rolled into a lonely 24-hour convenience store outside Clovis. 6 months earlier, we'd accidentally sideswiped a hitchhiker's pack at 40 miles per hour outside Abilene. Never saw the guy, just the gear explode in the mirror. We rationalized. Couldn't stop on that narrow shoulder. Survivor guilt simmered. At the store, fluorescent hum, aisles empty. Marco and I collected stale burritos while the twins pumped diesel. Over the PA, a customer service chime sounded, though the clerk box was empty. I shrugged and paid. On exit, we found all 4 tires slashed. Sidewall cuts precise like surgery. No cameras, no cell bars. Seth limped inside to call AAA on the landline, but the phone was a plastic shell, no wiring. The coolers hummed. Freezer buzzed. Everything else felt off, like a stage set. We debated sleeping in the van until daylight. That's when the store's automatic doors swished open by themselves, and a mannequin wearing a torn hiking pack tumbled out. A note safety pinned to the strap read, "Missed me once." Sam puked Mountain Dew. We tried the back service road, but the van's battery clicked dead. Someone had yanked the ignition fuse. Hours crawled. Around 4 a.m., a sheriff cruiser rolled up, spotlight sweeping. Relief died when I saw the driver. Same hitchhiker, or someone wearing his shredded pack. Badge was cardboard, gun a flare pistol. He ordered us to unload instruments. Tribute, he called it. Marco tried reasoning, got pistol whipped. I shoved the stranger with the bass case. Seth tackled his knees. The flare gun fired into ceiling tiles, igniting foam insulation. Alarms shrieked, sprinklers useless. The man fled into wheat fields. Real deputies and fire arrived 20 minutes later. They found Marco concussed, the store half-torched, us babbling about a fake cop. External intervention saved us legally. They blamed a transient arsonist. The band broke up. Yesterday's DM included a video clip of that night. Angle from the lot, van under sodium light. Hitchhiker silhouette staring. Metadata says uploaded from a device named Lost Pack 01. I changed my number, but I still dream of red sparks blossoming in ceiling foam and wonder what ever replaced the bulb means next. Posting because the Department of Transportation's final report drops tomorrow, and I need the story down before political spin muddies it. June 2022. I was on a cross-country coach with 46 passengers, part of a cheap sightseeing tour. Somewhere in the Appalachians, our driver Todd detoured off the interstate, citing GPS, accident ahead. The bus nosedived into an unfinished mountain tunnel project. Signage ripped down. Daytime, but inside the bore it was dusk. 50 yards in, the engine coughed, dashboard lit up, and we rolled to a stop. Todd admitted the tank read half when we'd left the gas station. Now it blinked empty. Weird. Cell phones searched, but found no towers. Emergency lights flicked, then died. Passengers murmured. I used my paramedic training voice to calm them. Todd hiked back toward daylight to flag help. 5 minutes later, his scream echoed. A chunk of rebar speared his calf, looked pulled from the tunnel wall. No one saw who threw it. Panic spread. The tunnel throat behind us filled with rolling fog, though outside humidity was normal. Kids cried. A retiree clutched his chest. Nitro pills, thankfully. We tried the rear emergency door, locked by a chain that hadn't been there at boarding. Metal scraped along the roof, a prowling noise. Someone pounded from outside, deliberate, working down window rows. Crowd dynamics flipped to riot. We barricaded the aisle with suitcases. The roof escape hatch moaned open. A dangling rope ladder slapped glass. No silhouette overhead. Just gray sky slice. Against better wisdom, we climbed. On the roof, I saw why the bus quit. Fuel lines slashed. Fresh footprints and dust led deeper into the dark bore. Fog swallowed the far portal. We formed a human chain, hauling each other up. Half the passengers got topside when the ladder yanked away, like a fisherman reeling catch. The hatch slammed. Someone or something latched it. No signal still, but car radios sometimes pick frequencies. I used my phone's FM chip hack and caught a faint broadcast. Welcome quarry patrons, blasting resumes at 1400. My watch said 1356. I screamed for everyone to run the roof toward daylight. We scattered. An explosive charge boomed deep inside. Concussion wave threw me against asphalt. Dust mushroomed. When I crawled outside the mouth, dazed survivors littered the ditch. The bus interior was gone. Roof peeled back like a can. 14 passengers missing. Investigators blamed Todd's fatigue, illegal entry into a closed DOT site, and miscommunication about test blasts. They never explained the chains or the footprints or the FM broadcast. Ambiguous enough? Tomorrow's report will say no evidence of additional persons, but I remember the rope ladder sliding away like a hooked fish and someone whistling, "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot," just before the blast. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. because every time I close my eyes, headlights flare under my eyelids. 2 weeks ago, I drove home from my divorce mediation, LA to Flagstaff overnight, because I needed altitude and pine air. Around midnight near Needles, I noticed my rearview mirror vibrating more than usual, almost rhythmic. The glass wasn't loose. The whole car felt like bass from a club next door. Then I saw the source. A convoy of classic cars, chrome-polished midnight black, no headlights, rolling 50 feet behind me. 10 vehicles at least, perfectly spaced, engines syncopated like one organism. I flipped to the middle lane. They mirrored. I downshifted, coasted to see if they'd pass. They slowed. No plates, just gold emblems shaped like hourglasses where tags should be. My phone had bars, but every call screen crashed before dialing. Gas dropped below a quarter. The convoy herded me until the next exit, Sign read, Gold Sands 2 miles, a town I'd never heard of. Day-night alternation violated, sure, but I felt like a mouse between cats. The off-ramp led to a dead main street lit by amber lanterns. The convoy boxed my Subaru front and back, idling. A vintage marquee flicked on. Golden Theater, one night only. The cinema doors opened. No people. Just ticket counter glowing. Car doors never opened. I never saw drivers. A single beep from somewhere, and my dash shut off. Engine died. I was herded. Inside the theater, smelled of dusted velvet. On screen flickered grainy footage of my wedding rehearsal. Then mediation office earlier that day. Then me now entering the lobby. Looping live. Soundtrack heartbeat loud. I backed out. Doors melted into wall panels. Panic shook logic loose. I sprinted behind curtains. Found a hallway leading to emergency exit. It opened into desert. No town lights, just my Subaru idling alone. The convoy gone. Engine started first try. Main highway rejoined in 10 minutes. At sunrise, I Googled Gold Sands. No hits. That exit marker doesn't exist on Caltrans maps. GPS history shows a 78-mile unknown road gap. Successful escape? Maybe. But Google Photos autosync uploaded a new album titled One Night Only. 30 stills of me inside that theater I never took. Gas receipt timestamp covers the same window. I smashed the phone, but the album lives in the cloud, waiting whenever I relog in. Posting because the diner just reopened under new owners and locals are raving. But my stomach flips when I think of that neon sign. 3 friends and I, Eli, Noor, and Ashley, drove the Blue Ridge Parkway last Thanksgiving, planning a leaf-peeping loop before winter closure. Noon of day 2, we hit fog and hunger at the same time. So when a turquoise arrow flashed diner ahead 1/4 miles, we veered off. The parking lot held 1 car. 90s Crown Vic, engine hot. Inside, Formica counters, pie carousel spinning. A man in Forest Service uniform sat at the end booth, reading a forestry binder. We grabbed seats. Waitress wore a name tag that said Mabel, but looked 25, too young for the vibe. Menu had 4 items: all-day breakfast, chili, coffee, pie. Mabel recommended the cherry. Eli ordered 2 slices. The guy in uniform looked up and said, "Second slice always costs double." No grin. We laughed. He didn't. Food arrived lukewarm, coffee scalding. Noor excused herself to the restroom, came back pale. Whispered that the exit door near the sinks led to a blackout stairwell, going down endless concrete steps. No basement on the diner footprint, according to county records we'd check later. Eli filmed a TikTok rating the cherry pie 4/10 could be poison, and posted. Within seconds, a new account commented, "Delete." We joked about bots. Bill time. The register crashed every card. "Cash only," said Mabel, smile tight. We pooled 20s. At the door, the uniformed man blocked us. Asked our itinerary for search and rescue. I showed him AllTrails app. He snapped a Polaroid of our faces and pocketed it. Ashley muttered lawsuit. He shrugged. Back on the road, phone notifications blew up. Eli's TikTok reposted from 6 burner accounts titled Last Meal Reviews. Each added ghostly filters over our faces. Signal died. 20 minutes later, the Crown Vic appeared behind us. Grill lights flashing. Not blue-red, but amber. We pulled over. The man approached passenger side with a forestry citation pad claiming we'd disturbed protected watershed by dumping trash. He held up a bag of our cherry pie boxes we'd left in the diner bin. They were dripping red like fresh organs. Ashley screamed. Noor hit the locks. Eli hit the gas, door still open. The officer clung, yelling coordinates into a radio. Miles later, he rolled off into gravel. We filed a report with actual park rangers. They found no diner at that mile marker, just a foundation slab from a 1980 fire. No Crown Vic sightings logged. External intervention? Rangers gave us cocoa and a pamphlet on stress reactions. The TikTok reposts vanished. But if you freeze frame Eli's original, the pie slices look like beating hearts. The diner reopened last week under new owners, but the sign's the same turquoise arrow. I'm not hungry enough to test if breakfast is still all day. I wasn't going to share this, but my kid asked why we never stop at roadside playgrounds anymore, and I lied. July 2021, my wife, 7-year-old daughter and I drove I-15 from Vegas to see relatives in Idaho. We promised a picnic at the big rest area near Beaver. Noon sun baking, but the lot was packed. Family road trippers chasing shade. Picnic tables ringed a fenced playground shaped like a pirate ship. While unpacking, a digital billboard above the restroom flashed Amber Alert, photo of a blonde girl about my daughter's age missing from Arizona. People glanced, kept eating. 10 minutes later, a teenage boy wearing a volunteer vest approached, asking if we'd stick around for a quick head count drill to help Rangers test emergency procedures. Sounded wholesome. Small group of parents agreed. He gave each kid a paper wristband with numbers. My daughter's read 073. He led the kids onto the pirate ship, had them wave through portholes while parents timed response on phones. Harmless. Then the vest kid blew a whistle and ushered children down a slide exit opposite the fence gate, straight into a white panel van idling by a maintenance lane. Parents sprinted, but a second teen blocked the gate with a clipboard, insisting just part of the drill. Chaos erupted. I vaulted the fence, caught the van door before it closed on my daughter. Inside, I saw rows of seats, kids buckled, one adult driver in paramedic scrubs. I yanked my daughter out. The driver gunned forward, door still swinging. The vest teens dove in. Van peeled onto the frontage road. Plate was a dealer temp tag flapping. Highway patrol arrived 7 minutes later. Someone hit the blue call box. They intercepted a burning van 30 miles north. Kids gone. Investigators believe the abductors swapped vehicles under an overpass. Wristbands left behind matched numbers from 3 missing child bulletins across state lines. Authorities keep calling it organized trafficking. Community response. Rest area now has concrete barriers. Rangers patrol. Ambiguous ending. 5 of the 11 kids still missing. My daughter sleeps under a weighted blanket and checks every wristband at school field trips. The billboard photo still cycles through my nightmares. Only the face morphs into number 073. Her. So yeah, we pack lunch now and eat in the car. Windows up, doors locked.